They say behind every great man is a great woman, but for the Habsburgs, that old saying often flipped on its head. Imagine a world where queens weren't just pretty faces or baby makers, but the true strategists, the iron fists, the brains behind the crown. A world where their husbands, though kings and emperors, were often mere shadows to their wives' blazing power. These were the Habsburg queens who didn't just rule their homes. They ruled empires. They defied expectations, crushed rebellions, managed treasuries, and navigated political storms, all while their crowned consorts sometimes stumbled or simply stood aside. Get ready to dive into the astonishing lives of 8 women who truly wore the pants and perhaps even the crown in their royal relationships. Number 1. Maria Theresa. Born into a world of tradition and expectation, Maria Theresa came into her own as the Archduchess of Austria. And Queen of Hungary and Bohemia, her very claim to the throne was a radical act. For centuries, Habsburg lands had passed from father to son, but her father, Emperor Charles VI, had no male heir. To secure her inheritance, he spent years drafting the Pragmatic Sanction, a decree intended to guarantee her succession. Despite his efforts, when he died in 1740, the great European powers who had promised to uphold the sanction quickly broke their word. It was a terrifying moment for a young woman of 23, pregnant with her 4th child, to face a continent ready to tear her lands apart. Her husband was Francis Stephen, Duke of Lorraine. He was a charming man, handsome and good-natured, whom Maria Theresa genuinely loved. Their marriage was a rare union, based on affection rather than just political calculation. However, Francis Stephen was not known for his political acumen or his military prowess. He enjoyed hunting, finances, and the finer things in life. He certainly wasn't the strong, seasoned monarch the empire needed in its hour of crisis. The War of the Austrian Succession erupted almost immediately after her father's death. Prussia, Bavaria, France, and Saxony all moved in eager to carve up the Habsburg inheritance. Maria Theresa knew she had to fight. She summoned her Hungarian magnates, appearing before them, dressed in black, holding her infant son Joseph, and delivering a passionate speech in Latin. Her raw courage and desperate plea moved the hardened nobles to tears. They famously swore to die for their queen, proclaiming vitam et sanguinem pro re nostro, which meant our life and blood for our king. The irony was not lost on anyone. They were pledging allegiance to their female sovereign. This moment marked the beginning of her formidable reign, a period where her personal strength overshadowed her husband's more reserved nature. While Francis Stephen was technically crowned Holy Roman Emperor in 1745, largely due to Maria Theresa's strategic efforts to legitimize her dynasty's imperial claim, he held little actual power in the Habsburg hereditary lands. Maria Theresa ensured that the real authority resided with her. She never allowed Francis Stephen to participate in cabinet meetings or in the direction of state policy. Even though he was the titular head of the Holy Roman Empire, when he once tried to exert influence by questioning a document, she famously snapped, "Who is the ruler here, you or I?" It was clear to everyone that she was the one in charge. She took on the burdens of state with an almost manic energy. She reorganized the army, transforming it into a modern fighting force. She reformed the tax system, making it more efficient and fair. She established the Theresian Military Academy, the first military school in the world, demonstrating her commitment to a stronger military. She also revamped the education system, founded the University of Innsbruck, and reformed the legal system. She was a hands-on ruler, often working late into the night, reviewing documents and making decisions that would shape the future of her empire. Her reforms were sweeping and touched every aspect of administration, finances, and public life. Francis Stephen, meanwhile, focused on managing his personal finances and on his passion for botany and natural sciences. He amassed a vast collection of natural specimens and founded the Schönbrunn Palace Menagerie, one of the oldest zoos in the world. He was a shrewd businessman, and his financial ventures sometimes brought significant wealth to the family coffers. but they were entirely separate from the state's political and military affairs. He was a loving husband and father to their 16 children, but as a ruler he acknowledged his wife's superior abilities and deferred to her judgment in matters of state. Maria Theresa's reign was defined by her ability to lead, to adapt, and to inspire loyalty. She waged the 7 Years' War to regain Silesia from Prussia, a testament to her tenacity, even though the war ultimately ended without her recovering the territory. Her diplomatic efforts were legendary, including the diplomatic revolution which saw Austria align with France, a long-time enemy. She personally orchestrated the marriages of her children, strategically forging alliances across Europe, most famously with her youngest daughter, Marie Antoinette, marrying the future King Louis XVI of France. Her personal life was intertwined with her political one. She managed to balance her deep faith with rational governance. She struggled with grief after Francis Stephen's unexpected death in 1765. She went into perpetual mourning, wearing black for the rest of her life, and significantly reduced her social engagements. However, her grief did not diminish her political will. She continued to rule with the same determination, proving that her power was not dependent on her husband's presence. Instead, her reign continued to flourish, further solidifying her reputation as one of Europe's most capable and dominant rulers, far exceeding any political influence her husband ever truly possessed. Her legacy as the mother of her people and the architect of modern Austria endured for centuries. Number 2. Isabella of Portugal. This empress was a woman of quiet strength and sharp intellect, serving as the trusted regent for her husband, the globe-trotting Emperor Charles V. Their marriage in 1526 was a union of power and convenience, designed to solidify alliances and bring the immense wealth of Portugal's spice trade into the Habsburg fold. Isabella was the daughter of King Manuel I of Portugal and Maria of Aragon, making her a cousin to Charles V. From the outset, their relationship was surprisingly warm, founded on mutual respect and genuine affection. This affection was crucial, as Charles V, ruler of an empire on which the sun never set, was constantly traveling to manage his vast territories in Europe and beyond. He was King of Spain, Archduke of Austria, Lord of the Netherlands, and Holy Roman Emperor. His travels meant frequent long absences from Spain, his preferred kingdom. It was during these extensive absences that Isabella truly shone. Charles V appointed her regent of Spain, not once, but multiple times, entrusting her with the full authority to govern in his stead. And she did not merely hold the title. She exercised power with remarkable skill and decisiveness. Her husband's primary focus was often on his imperial duties in Germany, Italy, or his wars against France and the Ottoman Empire. He relied completely on Isabella to maintain stability and prosperity in the Iberian Peninsula, the financial heartland of his empire. Isabella quickly proved herself to be a highly competent administrator. She managed the finances of Spain with meticulous care, ensuring that funds flowed steadily to support Charles's ambitious foreign policy and military campaigns. She presided over the councils of state, listening to arguments, asking incisive questions, and making critical decisions regarding governance, justice, and taxation. Contemporary accounts speak of her intelligence and her grasp of complex political matters. She signed official documents with the full authority of the monarch, her word carrying the weight of the emperor himself. When rebellion stirred in Castile in 1528, Isabella acted swiftly and firmly, demonstrating a resolve that quickly quelled unrest. She showed no hesitation in confronting challenges, whether internal or external. One of her most significant roles was in maintaining the peace and order of the kingdom while her husband was away. Spain at this time was a collection of diverse kingdoms, with different laws, customs, and potential for discord. Isabella ensured that the royal authority was respected and that justice was dispensed. She oversaw the appointment of officials, resolved disputes between nobles, and managed relations with the church. Her calm and steady hand was a constant presence in Spanish governance. a stark contrast to her husband's more volatile and peripatetic life. Her personal life also reflected her dedication to the crown. Despite her numerous pregnancies and the immense pressures of governance, she maintained a strong connection with Charles V through extensive correspondence. Their letters reveal a deep trust and mutual reliance. Charles would inform her of his triumphs and setbacks, and she in turn would update him on the affairs of Spain, offering her insights and advice. It was a partnership of equals, at least in terms of their respective spheres of influence. While Charles held the ultimate authority, Isabella was the one making the day-to-day decisions that kept the Spanish ship of state afloat and prosperous. Historians note that Isabella's regencies were periods of relative stability and prosperity for Spain. Her practical approach and strong leadership ensured that the kingdom remained loyal and productive, providing the essential resources that allowed Charles V to project his power across Europe. She established a reputation for being shrewd but fair, respected by the Spanish nobility and the common people alike. Her presence effectively negated any power vacuum that might have occurred due to Charles V's long absences, ensuring continuity of rule. Tragically, Isabella's life was cut short. She died in 1539 following a miscarriage at the age of 35. Her death devastated Charles V. He retired to a monastery for a period of mourning, wearing black for the rest of his life, and never remarried. Her loss was not just personal for him. It was a severe blow to his ability to govern his vast empire. After her death, Charles relied on his son Philip to act as regent, but no one could truly fill the void left by Isabella's administrative genius and unwavering support. Her contributions to the effective rule of the Habsburg Empire were immense, and her tenure as regent undeniably decised a woman wielding more direct and consistent power over her assigned domain than her frequently absent imperial husband. Number 3. Maria of Spain. Born a Habsburg, Maria was the daughter of Emperor Charles V and Isabella of Portugal, a powerful queen in her own right, as we have seen. This lineage instilled in her a profound understanding of imperial duties and the demands of governance from a young age. In 1548, she married her first cousin Maximilian II, who would later become Holy Roman Emperor. Their marriage was a strategic match, uniting two prominent branches of the Habsburg family. While Maximilian was intelligent and well-educated, he was also known for his rather calm and scholarly temperament, sometimes lacking the decisive political drive that Maria possessed in abundance. Much like her mother, Maria was destined to act as regent for her frequently absent and powerful male relatives. In 1548, shortly after her marriage, she and Maximilian were sent to Spain to govern the kingdom, in the absence of her father Charles V, who was deeply involved in affairs in the Holy Roman Empire. This was a massive responsibility for a young woman of 23, and it immediately placed her in a position of significant authority far exceeding any specific political role her husband might have been expected to play. Charles V explicitly stated that Maria was to be the primary authority figure in Spain during his absence, even over Maximilian. Maria embraced this role with a seriousness and competence that impressed all who witnessed it. She presided over the councils of state just as her mother had done. She handled the daily administration of the kingdom, from managing finances and taxes to overseeing justice and maintaining public order. Her decisions were firm and her judgment sound. She was fluent in several languages, including Latin, and was well versed in history and politics, a true intellectual match for the demands of her position. She was often described as being more like her father, Charles V, in her political astuteness and determination than her more academic husband. During her time as regent in Spain, she demonstrated a keen understanding of the kingdom's complex legal and administrative systems. She communicated regularly with her father, receiving his instructions and providing detailed reports on the state of Spain. However, she was not merely a passive recipient of orders. She offered her own advice and made independent decisions when necessary, always with the aim of serving the best interests of the crown and her people. Her administrative skills ensured the continued flow of revenue from Spain to support the Habsburgs' vast imperial ambitions, which was crucial for her father's ongoing wars and diplomatic efforts across Europe. When Maximilian succeeded Charles V as Holy Roman Emperor in 1564, Maria became Holy Roman Empress. While in Vienna, she continued to be an influential figure. She was known for her strong Catholic faith and her conservative views, which sometimes put her at odds with Maximilian's more tolerant approach to religious matters. However, her influence was undeniable. She was a key advisor to her husband, particularly on Spanish affairs, and on maintaining close ties with the Spanish Habsburg branch, led by her brother, King Philip II. She corresponded extensively with her brother, often acting as a bridge between the two powerful branches of the family. Even after Maximilian's death in 1576, Maria's influence did not wane. She returned to Spain in 1582 and established herself in a convent in Madrid. But she remained an active political voice, particularly in matters concerning the Catholic Church and Spanish foreign policy. She was a respected confidant to her nephew, King Philip III of Spain, and her advice was often sought and heeded. She continued to serve as a symbol of Habsburg unity and a pillar of Catholic orthodoxy in Spain. Maria of Spain's life demonstrated a consistent pattern of a woman taking charge and exerting authority, often in contexts where her male counterparts were either absent or less inclined to direct leadership. Her regency in Spain was a clear period where she held the reins of power more effectively and directly than her husband. Her strength, intelligence, and unwavering dedication to her dynastic duties ensured that she remained a central figure in Habsburg politics, not just as a consort, but as a ruler and influential advisor. Her legacy is one of competent governance and a profound impact on the stability and direction of a vast European empire. Number 4. Maria Anna of Neuburg. Imagine a kingdom teetering on the brink, ruled by a king so frail he was barely a shadow. That was the Spain Maria Anna of Neuburg stepped into when she married King Charles II in 1690. Charles II, the last Habsburg king of Spain, was a product of generations of close inbreeding within the royal family. He was physically and mentally disabled, unable to produce an heir, and prone to illness. His reign was marked by political instability and a desperate scramble by European powers to claim the Spanish succession. Once he passed, Maria Anna, a princess from a small German state of Neuburg, was chosen precisely for her reputation for fertility and her family's strong pro-Habsburg stance. She was lively, determined, and had a formidable will, qualities that would soon become essential in the chaotic Spanish court. From the moment she arrived in Madrid, it became clear that her husband was incapable of truly ruling. He was often bedridden, unable to focus, and easily manipulated. The court was a hotbed of factions, each vying for influence over the weak king. Maria Anna quickly recognized the power vacuum and moved to fill it. She understood that if Spain were to survive as an independent entity, someone strong needed to take charge. She allied herself with the German party at court, who supported the Austrian Habsburg claim to the Spanish throne. Her primary goal became ensuring that the Spanish succession, once Charles II died, would pass to an Austrian Habsburg, preserving her family's immense influence across Europe. This put her in direct opposition to the French party, who favored a Bourbon claimant. Her husband, Charles II, was largely a pawn in these power struggles. He doted on his wife, but his mental capacity prevented him from understanding the complexities of governance. Maria Anna effectively became the de facto ruler of Spain. She exerted immense influence over appointments to high offices, dictated policies, and managed the royal household. She fought tirelessly against the French faction, led by figures who sought to undermine her authority and push their own agendas. She faced considerable opposition and was often criticized for her foreign background and her perceived dominance. One of her key strategies was to control access to the king. Charles II was often isolated, and Maria Anna ensured that only those loyal to her or her faction could gain an audience with him. This allowed her to filter information, present proposals in her favor, and secure royal decrees that advanced her political aims. She was involved in every significant decision from military strategy during ongoing conflicts to economic policies and court intrigues. While she never held the title of Queen Regnant, her actions demonstrated a woman who wielded the real power behind the Spanish throne. Her quest for an heir was relentless, as she knew it was the key to stabilizing the kingdom and ensuring a Habsburg succession. Despite all efforts and the various superstitious and religious remedies employed, Maria Anna never conceived a child with Charles II. This failure weighed heavily on her, but it only intensified her political maneuvering to secure the Habsburg claim through other means. She worked closely with Emperor Leopold I, her brother-in-law, to plan for the eventual succession, sending agents to Vienna and receiving instructions from the imperial court. Her strong personality and direct approach often created enemies. She was accused of extravagance and of favoring foreign advisors. However, her defenders argued that she was simply doing what was necessary to protect her husband's kingdom and her family's legacy in a desperate situation. She was, in essence, holding the crumbling edifice of the Spanish Habsburg Empire together. When Charles II finally died in 1700, the War of the Spanish Succession erupted, a conflict that plunged Europe into decades of brutal fighting. Maria Anna's efforts to secure an Austrian Habsburg successor ultimately failed, as Philip V, a Bourbon, ascended to the Spanish throne. Despite this, her time as queen consort demonstrated a period where she undeniably held more actual governing power than her royal husband. She was the one making the difficult decisions, managing the court and fighting tooth and nail for her vision of Spain's future, a testament to her formidable will and political acumen in a period of profound crisis. Number 5. Maria Luisa of Savoy. When Maria Luisa of Savoy arrived in Spain in 1701 to marry the young king Philip V, she was barely 13 years old. Philip V, a Bourbon prince newly placed on the Spanish throne by his grandfather Louis XIV of France, was himself a shy, melancholic, and deeply indecisive young man. Their marriage, designed to cement the Bourbon claim to the Spanish throne, was fraught with the challenges of the ongoing War of the Spanish Succession. This conflict saw most of Europe arrayed against France and Spain, trying to prevent a powerful Bourbon alliance. From the very beginning, Maria Luisa proved to be far more spirited and resolute than her husband. Philip V was prone to bouts of depression and became almost entirely dependent on his young wife, not just for emotional support, but for political guidance. He relied on her heavily, clinging to her, refusing to make decisions without her presence or approval. This created an immediate power dynamic where the teenage queen became the de facto decision-maker, guiding her husband through the tumultuous early years of his reign. Maria Luisa's intelligence and strong will were quickly recognized even by her enemies. She was aided by the formidable French noblewoman, Princess d'Ursine, who became her closest advisor and lady-in-waiting. Together, they formed a powerful duo at the Spanish court, effectively steering the direction of the government. While Philip V was often lost in his own anxieties, Maria Luisa was active. She attended council meetings, read dispatches, and made crucial decisions concerning the war effort, finances, and court appointments. Her youth belied a remarkable maturity and a clear understanding of the grave situation Spain faced. During a particularly desperate phase of the War of the Spanish Succession, when Madrid itself was threatened by Austrian forces, Philip V decided to personally lead his troops to the front. This meant leaving Maria Luisa, now only 16, as regent of Spain. It was an unprecedented move. Entrusting such immense power to a young queen, she did not falter. She took on the responsibility with characteristic resolve, inspiring loyalty and rallying the Spanish people. She worked tirelessly, communicating with generals, organizing supplies, and issuing decrees to maintain order and morale. Her regency was a crucial period for the Bourbon dynasty in Spain. She managed to keep the country unified and fighting despite immense pressures. She famously wrote impassioned letters to town councils and military commanders, urging them to continue the struggle. Her courage and unwavering spirit contrasted sharply with her husband's wavering resolve. She effectively became the public face of the monarchy during a time of extreme vulnerability, projecting strength and determination when her husband's personality made him less suited for such a role. Maria Luisa also played a significant role in reforming the Spanish court and administration. She understood the need for a more centralized and efficient government, moving away from the fragmented Habsburg system. Her collaboration with Princess de Ursin led to significant changes in court protocol and governance, often against the wishes of the entrenched Spanish nobility. She sought to promote capable individuals, regardless of their social standing, recognizing that Spain needed strong leadership to survive. Her deep influence over Philip V lasted throughout her short life. He was so devoted to her and so dependent on her judgment that her absence plunged him into even deeper states of melancholy. She was the one who could calm his anxieties, guide his decisions, and provide him with the emotional stability he desperately lacked. Contemporary accounts often remarked on how entirely Philip V relied on his young wife, seeing her as his anchor in a stormy political sea. Tragically, Maria Luisa's health deteriorated and she died in 1714 at the age of 25, likely from tuberculosis. Her death plunged Philip V into profound grief and intensified his already severe depression, leading to periods where he was almost entirely incapacitated by his melancholia. Her early passing left a significant void in Spanish politics, and it took years for Philip V to find another partner, Isabella Farnese, who could provide a similar level of support and influence. Maria Luisa of Savoy, despite her youth, undeniably wielded more actual power and leadership over the Spanish state than her dependent husband during a critical period of its history. Number 6. Maria Anna of Austria, Queen of Portugal. Born a Habsburg Archduchess, Maria Anna was the daughter of Emperor Leopold, the first ruler of the vast Holy Roman Empire. Her marriage in 1708 to King John V of Portugal was a grand affair, a strategic union meant to strengthen ties between the two Catholic powers. John V was a king known for his immense wealth, derived primarily from Brazil's gold and diamonds. He used this fortune to build lavish palaces, promote the arts, and project an image of splendor. However, while he was a patron of culture, his governance was often characterized by a more passive, even indulgent approach to state affairs. Maria Anna arrived in Portugal with the weight of her Habsburg lineage and a clear understanding of royal duty. She was intelligent, pious, and possessed a strong sense of order and authority. While John V indulged in his magnificent building projects and entertained himself with courtly pleasures, Maria Anna, though devoted to her religious duties, also quietly observed and understood the mechanics of power. In the 1740s, King John V suffered a series of strokes that left him largely incapacitated. He was unable to speak coherently, could not make decisions, and was entirely reliant on others for his daily needs. This created a dramatic power vacuum at the heart of the Portuguese state. The court and the kingdom needed a steady hand, and Maria Anna was there to provide it. From 1742 until John V's death, in 1750, Maria Anna served as the de facto ruler of Portugal. While she never formally held the title of regent, she exercised complete authority over the government. She presided over the Council of State, listened to ministers' issued decrees, and managed the day-to-day affairs of the kingdom. All major decisions had to pass through her. She signed documents using the phrase, "I the Queen," effectively taking on the monarch's role. Her children, including the heir apparent, Joseph, were still young, and it was Maria Anna who steered the ship of state during this critical period of her husband's incapacitation. She faced significant challenges. Portugal's economy, though rich in gold, was suffering from a lack of diversification. The influence of the church was immense, and various factions at court vied for power. Maria Anna, drawing on her Habsburg upbringing, brought a sense of discipline and pragmatic administration to the government. She ensured the continuity of state functions, maintained diplomatic relations, and managed the flow of wealth from the colonies. She was a woman who understood the intricacies of governance, unlike her now ailing husband. Her leadership was recognized and respected by foreign courts. Diplomats and ambassadors knew that to get anything done in Portugal, they had to deal directly with the Queen. She was the one who held the keys to the kingdom's policies and decisions. Her decisive actions and strong presence provided stability when the monarchy might otherwise have descended into chaos due to the king's severe illness. Maria Anna also ensured the proper upbringing of her children, particularly her heir Joseph. She instilled in him a sense of duty and the principles of effective governance, preparing him for the weighty responsibilities he would inherit. Her influence extended beyond purely administrative matters. She helped shape the future direction of the Portuguese monarchy through her actions and her guidance of the next generation. When John V finally passed away in 1750, Maria Anna played a crucial role in the smooth transition of power to her son, Joseph I. She had effectively laid the groundwork for his reign, having managed the kingdom for 8 years. Her period of informal regency was a testament to her capabilities and her dominance over her ailing husband's nominal rule. She stepped into a void left by a king who, even before his illness, preferred to delegate and indulge rather than actively govern. Maria Anna of Austria, the Habsburg princess, ensured that the Portuguese throne remained strong and functional when its male occupant could not. Number 7. Maria Carolina of Austria. Born into the formidable Habsburg family, Maria Carolina was one of the 16 children of the legendary Empress Maria Theresa. From her earliest days, she was schooled in the art of statesmanship, even though she was initially considered less significant than her older sisters, particularly the one destined for the French throne, Marie Antoinette. In 1768, Maria Carolina married King Ferdinand IV, and I of Naples and Sicily. This was a purely political marriage designed to secure an alliance between Austria and the Bourbon Kingdom of Naples. As Ferdinand was a son of King Charles III of Spain, Ferdinand was known for his love of hunting, fishing, and revelry. He was amiable enough, but lacked intellectual curiosity, political ambition, and administrative skill. He was nicknamed King Nose due to his large nose, and was often depicted as uncouth and intellectually limited. He was perfectly content to delegate the affairs of state, preferring to spend his time on outdoor pursuits and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. This immediately created a power dynamic where the intelligent and highly capable Maria Carolina quickly rose to become the true ruler. Maria Carolina had promised her mother that she would exert influence and guide her husband, and she kept that promise with remarkable zeal. From the moment she produced a male heir, thereby fulfilling her most immediate dynastic duty, she began to assert her authority. She began by infiltrating the Privy Council, a key governing body. She cultivated allies among the ministers and gradually sidelined the king's original advisors, many of whom were Spanish loyalists, replacing them with individuals loyal to her and her pro-Austrian reformist agenda. She learned to read and write in Italian, immersing herself in the local culture and politics. Within a few years of her marriage, Maria Carolina was effectively running the Kingdom of Naples and Sicily. Ferdinand, uninterested in the details of governance, readily deferred to her. He would often sign documents brought to him without even reading them, trusting his wife to manage everything. She presided over council meetings, appointed ministers, dictated foreign policy, and oversaw military affairs. Her influence was so complete that diplomats and foreign powers knew that any serious negotiation had to be conducted directly with the Queen. Maria Carolina was a strong advocate for reforms. She aimed to modernize the kingdom, reduce the power of the feudal nobility, and improve the economy. She supported Enlightenment ideas and worked to strengthen the military, recognizing the need for Naples to be able to defend itself against the rising power of France. She corresponded regularly with her brothers, Emperor Joseph II and Leopold II, seeking their advice and coordinating Habsburg interests in southern Italy. She was particularly active in foreign policy, steering Naples away from its traditional alignment with Spain and towards Austria and Great Britain. The French Revolution and the subsequent Napoleonic Wars brought immense challenges. Maria Carolina became a fierce opponent of revolutionary France, seeing it as a threat to all monarchies. She played a leading role in the various coalitions against Napoleon, providing troops and resources. Her resolve was often tested, and she displayed remarkable resilience in the face of invasion and defeat. When French forces occupied Naples in 1799, she and Ferdinand were forced to flee to Sicily, but she continued to govern from exile, refusing to abandon her kingdom. Her reign was marked by her unyielding determination and her direct involvement in every aspect of state administration. She was a hands-on ruler who micromanaged her ministers and was not afraid to make unpopular decisions. Her willpower and political acumen far surpassed her husband's, who was more interested in hunting and his personal pleasures than the affairs of state. Ferdinand's role was largely ceremonial, a figurehead, while Maria Carolina made the actual decisions. Maria Carolina's power was undeniable. She was often criticized for her authoritarian style and her unwavering loyalty to her family's Habsburg interests, but few could dispute her effectiveness as a ruler. She survived numerous political upheavals and continued to fight for the independence and prosperity of her adopted kingdom until her death in 1814. Her legacy is that of a powerful queen who, through sheer force of will and intellect, controlled a kingdom that her husband was simply not equipped to lead. She proved that a queen could be not just a consort, but the true sovereign in all but name. Number 8. Maria Leopoldina of Austria. Maria Leopoldina, an Archduchess of Austria, was another daughter of a Holy Roman Emperor, Francis II, and a granddaughter of the famous Empress Maria Theresa. From a young age, she was educated with a broad curriculum encompassing natural sciences, botany, and history, along with the expected languages and arts. She was intelligent, serious, and had a deep interest in the natural world. In 1817, she married Dom Pedro, the heir to the Portuguese throne, who would later become Emperor Pedro I of Brazil and King Pedro IV of Portugal. Their marriage was a strategic alliance, connecting the ancient house of Braganza with the powerful Habsburgs. Pedro, while manic and passionate, was also impulsive, prone to emotional outbursts, and notoriously unfaithful. He was a complex figure, enthusiastic about his liberal ideals but often inconsistent in his application of them. In contrast, Leopoldina was grounded, pragmatic, and possessed a quiet strength. The Portuguese royal family had moved to Brazil in 1808 to escape Napoleon's invasion of Portugal, establishing the seat of power in Rio de Janeiro. It was in this vibrant, burgeoning empire that Leopoldina would truly find her political voice. From the start, Leopoldina embraced her new home. She fostered an intense interest in Brazil's natural history, collecting specimens and supporting scientific expeditions. She also keenly observed the political climate, quickly understanding the growing desire for independence from Portugal among the Brazilians. Pedro, though initially loyal to his father, King John VI, began to lean towards the independence movement. It was during a crucial period in 1822 that Leopoldina's political acumen shone brightest. King John VI had returned to Portugal, leaving Pedro as regent of Brazil. However, the Portuguese Cortes, Parliament in Lisbon, was trying to reassert control over Brazil, threatening to revoke its autonomy and essentially reduce it back to a colony. Pedro was away on a trip to Sao Paulo, attempting to quell separatist unrest there. With Pedro absent, Leopoldina was left as the acting regent in Rio de Janeiro. She received crucial dispatches from Portugal, clearly outlining Lisbon's intentions to dismantle Brazil's self-governance. Realizing the gravity of the situation and the immediate threat to Brazil's future, Leopoldina acted decisively. She convened the Council of State on September 1, 1822. With the support of her advisors, notably José Bonifacio de Selva, she signed the Decree of Independence, irrevocable. This was an incredibly bold move, taken without her husband's direct instruction. She then wrote an urgent letter to Pedro urging him to declare independence immediately upon his return, before the Portuguese forces could react. Her letter, delivered on September 7, 1822, famously stated, "The fruit is ripe, harvest it now, or it will rot." Inspired by her decisive action and counsel, Pedro then uttered the cry of Ipiranga, declaring Brazil's independence. While Pedro gets the credit for the famous cry, it was Leopoldina's foresight, political courage, and decisive action as regent that laid the groundwork for Brazilian independence. She was the one who made the critical decision at the moment of truth. After independence, Leopoldina became Empress of Brazil. She continued to be a trusted advisor to Pedro, often acting as regent again during his frequent absences. She played a significant role in establishing the new empire, promoting scientific research, and attempting to stabilize a volatile political landscape. Despite Pedro's personal failings and public infidelities which deeply hurt her, Leopoldina remained dedicated to her duties as empress and mother to their many children, including the future Emperor Pedro II. Her calm and steady nature often counterbalanced Pedro's impetuousness. She was seen as a unifying figure, admired by the Brazilian people for her intelligence and commitment to their new nation. Her contributions to Brazil's independence were undeniable, showing a woman who was not just a royal consort, but a genuine political actor, making critical decisions that shaped the destiny of an entire continent. Her power was derived from her intellect, her resolve, and her ability to step into a leadership void left by a husband who, despite his grand pronouncements, often relied heavily on her quiet but firm guidance. She was truly an empress who outshone her husband in the most crucial moments of history.